Chapter 702. The jade dragon snake was in the fat rabbit's body space. The reason why these beasts didn't attack was probably because they were afraid of the fat rabbit's pressure. But if they didn't release the jade dragon snake, these beasts wouldn't let it go. However, it was impossible for her to hand over the jade dragon snake. This was her greatest reliance for the Nether Flame army to ascend to the cultivation continent. Mayan turns her wrist, and the Tian Imo Chin appears in her palm. Since he couldn't take it by trickery, he might as well take it by force. However, before she could pluck the strings, her wrist was grabbed. Deming Ju's wide palm gently moves along her wrist, finally wrapping her small hand in his palm. It's just some strange beasts. How could Madame bother to deal with them? This monarch will help you deal with them. Mu Yin frowns and looks at him, saying somewhat fiercely, "You stay here obediently, don't make a move." This guy, could it be that he's forgotten that if he interferes too much in the Yinwu continent, he will suffer a backlash? Especially when it comes to killing, if there are too many casualties, the backlash Deming Ju will suffer will certainly be even greater. Yin Yin, can I understand that you're worried about me? Deming Ju grabs hold of Mayan's hand as she tries to struggle free, his fingers interlocking with hers. Then, with a faint smile, she said, "However, you are underestimating your future husband too much. To deal with these strange beasts, I don't need to kill them." As soon as he finished speaking, he let go of Mu Yan's hand and took a step forward, looking at the densely packed strange beasts. Meeting this man's eyes that were as cold as 10,000-year-old ice, the exotic beasts at the front of the line couldn't help but shiver. Then, Deming Ju narrowed his eyes and growled, "Scram!" In the next moment, an invisible pressure suddenly spreads out with Deming Ju as the center. Mu Yin and the others did not feel anything, but those strange beasts that were still ferocious just now seemed to have felt some kind of terrifying aura. Their eyes were filled with terror as they turned around and ran. Even the fat rabbit howls and quickly hides inside Mayan's space. In just a few short breaths, the surroundings were completely empty. Not even a single mutated beast could be seen. Mayan turns her lifeless gaze towards Deming Ju. She had always known that this man was powerful, but she didn't expect him to be this powerful. Even Xiao Bao stares blankly at Deming Ju, his big blue eyes rippling with the emotion of a child's worship. Deming Ju only feels that his mood is indescribably comfortable. When Jun Shangdaran was in the Shoshin continent, he was worshipped and revered every day, but he never felt that it was a big deal. But today, when he looked at Mu Yin and Xiao Bao's eyes, he only felt indescribable joy. However, before he can take the opportunity to flirt with Mayan, Mu Yan's line of sight had already turned to the bushes at the side. Her voice neither cold nor indifferent. "Are you still not ready to come out?" After a long time, the bushes shook violently, producing the sound of clothes rubbing against each other. Soon after, a man and a woman crawled out from the underbrush and kneeled in front of Mayan. Both of them were in a sorry state, and there were many wounds on their bodies. The woman was as thin as a stick and her face was pale, but her belly was bulging. It was obvious that she was pregnant. Mu Yin went straight to the point. "Who are those people chasing you?" The pregnant woman and the man looked at each other before shaking their heads with tears in their eyes. I don't know who those people are. I only know that they are beasts. They are all deranged beasts. My belly hurts so much." Chapter 703. The pregnant woman suddenly lets out a mournful scream, clutching her stomach and collapsing. Inger, how are you?" "She's going to give birth." Mu Yan's calm voice comes. The man is startled, nervously looking at Mu Yin, then kowtows to her. "I beg you, please save Inger. I beg you. As long as you can save Inger and the child's life, I'm willing to be your slave for the rest of my life." Mu Yin crouches down to examine the pregnant woman's body. Soon after, her brows tightly wrinkle. Because this pregnant woman's physical condition is very poor, she's all skin and bones, but the baby inside is very well fed. Moreover, this pregnant woman's bone structure is only 15 or 16 years old. It's simply not a suitable age for pregnancy. It's simply impossible to safely give birth to a child with such a body. Unless, in Mu Yan's mind, the surgery that Bailey Lewin wrote down in his notes cesarean section. However, as soon as she thinks of this surgery, her mind unconsciously flashes to the scene of her previous life being cut open and Xiao Bao being dug out. Her face turns deathly pale in an instant, and she subconsciously reaches out to grab Xiao Bao, hugging him tightly in her arms. Xiao Bao doesn't know why his mother suddenly hugs him, and it's a little tight, a little painful. But Xiao Bao doesn't make a sound. Instead, he wraps his little hands around Mu Yan's neck and softly says, "Nyang Qin, don't be afraid. Xiao Bao is here." Xiao Bao has always known that his mother is very afraid of losing him. When he was even younger, Mu Yin would always wake up in the middle of the night in the cave and hold him in her arms, covered in cold sweat, as if he was a treasure that had been lost and regained. Xiao Bao likes how his mother cares about him, values him, and loves him, because he also loves his mother the most. Mu Yin takes a deep breath, feeling Xiao Bao's small and soft body in her arms, and slowly calms down. After so many years, she has learned to forget that hellish past life. But in fact, those painful memories of the past have always been engraved in the depths of her soul. From time to time, they would drill out and gnaw at her until she's covered in bruises. But she has long been accustomed to it and can easily get through it. However, the next moment, her body, together with Xiao Bao, is pulled into a warm embrace. Deming Ju's low, husky, magnetic voice rings in her ears, "Yin Yin, no matter what you've experienced in the past, from now on, I will accompany you and your son. I won't let anyone bully you again." At that moment, Mayan only feels a warm current flowing from Deming Ju's body into her body, dispersing all the coldness and emptiness from her body. She reached out and hugged the man tightly, not letting go until the pregnant woman moaned again. Mu Yin took another deep breath and used the knife to cut open the pregnant woman's stomach. What are you going to do?" The man revealed a horrified expression. You're the same as those animals. Are you going to cut opening her stomach and take our child from inside?" No. The man lunged over, trying to snatch the pregnant woman away. "Giving her back to me. I will never allow you to hurting her and the child." Mu Yin frowns, the information revealed in this man's words. But now was not the time to think about this. "Guanhu, tell this man not to make any noise and disturb my surgery." Chapter 704. Under the effect of Mu Yan's draft, the pregnant woman, who was still moaning, also falls asleep. The man's face is covered with tears. He looks at Mu Yin, who's cutting open the pregnant woman's belly bit by bit, but he's unable to move. An hour later, the baby's cries resound in everyone's ears like a kitten's cry. Mu Yin looks at the man with a lifeless face, as if he's already stupid. She says indifferently, "It's a boy." The little pink dumpling is wrapped in a fluffy blanket, kicking its little hands and feet from time to time. Everyone curiously gathers around, their faces filled with amazement. "Nyang Qin, is this a newborn baby?" Xiao Bao can't help but reach out and poke, so soft and small. Could it be that when Xiao Bao was born, he was also like this? Although it's soft and tender, it's so wrinkled that it doesn't look good at all. In the future, when Nyang Qin gives birth to a little sister, will she also be this ugly? No, definitely not. Nyang Qin's little sister, of course she's the best. Xiao Bao's thoughts scatter. Meanwhile, Mu Yin has already washed her blood-stained hands in the stream that Shui Yin had just found. She looks at the pregnant woman who's slowly opening her eyes. Because of the draft used to clean and treat the wound on her abdomen is almost healed by the time Mu Yin stitches it up. Mu Yin then feeds her a draft that replenishes qi and nourishes blood. After giving birth, the woman's complexion is unexpectedly rosier and more beautiful than before. Inger, you're still alive? That's great. The man pounces on the pregnant woman, hugging her and crying. After a long time, the two kneel down towards Mu Yin and slowly reveal their identities. The man's name is Ma Yuan, and the girl who has just given birth, but is less than 16, is called Lu Ying. What's shocking is that these two people didn't even know each other a year ago. I'm a direct descendant of the Lu family in Huangyao's Maple City. The elders in my family have always said that I'm very talented. A year ago, on my 15th birthday, I broke through to profound stage. Lu Ying's expression was somewhat absent-minded. It was clearly a memory from over a year ago. However, to her, it was as if a lifetime had passed. At that time, I thought I was the happiest, the most high-spirited person I had ever been. But in the blink of an eye, I was imprisoned in a small house that neither the heavens nor the earth responded to. A man I didn't know pounced on me, ignoring my struggles. I tried to resist, I tried to commit suicide, but I didn't succeed. I really wanted to die. Lu Ying's words were incoherent. Her eyes were unfocused, but her body was trembling nonstop. It was obvious that she had suffered a great shock. Ma Yuan quickly hugged her and comforted her carefully for a while before Lu Ying calmed down. However, Mu Yin frowned and said in a deep voice, "Do you know who captured you? What is their purpose?" Ma Yuan grabbed Lu Ying's hand, looked at Mu Yin, and continued speaking on her behalf. "I don't know the specific identity of those people, but I can be sure that their status is definitely not low. The main reason they captured women with outstanding aptitudes like is to get them pregnant with fetuses. Then, when the fetuses have been raised for 8 or 9 months, they will remove these fetuses from the women's abdomens." A trace of fear appeared in Ma Yuan's eyes. Chapter 705. Ma Yuan's voice stopped abruptly, because he discovered that Mu Yan's expression was bone-piercingly cold, and the sharp killing intent around her body caused his entire body to feel cold and numb. He couldn't even speak clearly. Only when the outrageously handsome man by her side pulls her into his arms and gently caresses her, does Mayan's expression recover. "Continue." Ma Ding calmed himself down and said, "That group of people raise pregnant women like they call them. So? And those men who force these women to become pregnant are called breeding pigs? I am one of the breeding pigs." Mu Yan's eyes are filled with deep disgust. It wasn't just insulting titles like sow and breeding pig. More importantly, she had never expected Ma Yuan to be one of those scumbags who humiliated innocent women. Feeling the murderous intent in the eyes of Mayan and the others towards Ma Yuan, Lu Ying suddenly pounced over and blocked Ma Yuan. She said loudly, "Don't blame Big Brother Ma. He is a good person. He was forced. Moreover, because of me, even his family was killed by those scum. Please don't kill him." Ma Yuan pushed her away and revealed a bitter smile as if he had accepted his fate. Don't say anymore. No matter what, I'm the scum who forced you. Miss, if you think I deserve to die, then just kill me." However, Lu Ying shook his head with all his might and cried towards Mu Yin, "Big Brother Ma Yuan's family has been captured by that group of beasts. If he is not obedient, those people will tear his family apart. Big Brother Ma Yuan has no choice." As it turned out, the breeding pig that the organization caught also required the man to be extremely talented. Only then could they ensure that the fetus that was conceived was sufficiently outstanding. Some of these breeding pigs were willing scumbags who wanted to defile more women. But there were also some people like Ma Yuan who had no choice but to be coerced. However, something unexpected happened during this process. Just like fate, Ma Yuan fell in love with Lu Ying the moment he saw her. Lu Ying also slowly fell in love with Ma Yuan due to his gentleness towards her. Their child could be said to be the fruit of their love. However, this crystal was about to be taken out. Before it could see the light of day, it would be strangled to death. Even Lu Ying would definitely die during this process. How could Ma Yuan bear to see his lover and child die so tragically? Therefore, for the first time, he disobeyed the organization and rescued Lu Ying, who was about to give birth. Because of this, his family was killed by the organization. Even they, if they had not met Mu Yin, would have ended up in a miserable state. The two of them cried miserably. The baby wrapped in the blanket seemed to feel something and began to cry as well. Shui Yin couldn't help but say, "Don't cry. Although you guys had a hard time in the past, meeting young Miss is your greatest fortune. If you really have no home to return to, then come back to Hellflame Valley with us." Hellflame Valley? Lu Ying and Ma Yuan asked simultaneously. However, Lu Ying had a confused expression on her face. However, Ma Yuan's complexion greatly changes. He looks at Mayan in shock. You are the Enchantress of Medicine, Mayan?" The Enchantress of Medicine Jun Mayan, who rose to fame in just one short year, trampling the godly Dr. Qian Qing under her feet, beating the Ghost City into submission, and causing Jingcheng country to be destroyed overnight. But no matter how much grief and indignation they felt, they could only turn into helplessness and despair in the end. Once again, Ma Yuan kowtows towards Mayan, Madam Enchantress, I only beg you to save those innocent girls who are being kept in captivity and to completely destroy that disgusting place. The pills that the Tiandao sect uses to nurture the fetus are all piled up in the underground palace. As long as those pills are destroyed, the people of the Tiandao sect will not be able to nurture the fetus in a short period of time. Mu Yin is silent and does not speak. Ma Yuan suddenly thought of the heavy guards in the underground palace and the powerful Tiandao sect, and immediately felt a wave of regret. Chapter 707. Although those women were innocent, but if Miss June were to save them and bring trouble upon herself, how could he feel at ease? Ma Yuan wished he could give himself a tight slap. He was about to speak, but he heard the man beside Mu Yin say in a low, magnetic voice, "You don't like it?" Mayan's eyes are heavy, but she doesn't speak. Dimingju's tone is even more indifferent, as if he's talking about a family matter of chatting and eating. If you don't like it, then just destroy it. What's there to hesitate about? Binjun can. Mayan casts a glance at him. Behave yourself. You're not allowed to make a move in the Yinwu continent. I will deal with the Tiandao sect myself. I'm just calculating if there's an auspicious day this month that's good for killing. Dimingju looks at the little girl's fiendish appearance, thinking, Binjun really spoils you to the heavens. You actually dare to tell Binjun to settle down a bit. But thinking like this in his heart, Jun Shangdaren's actions still obediently settled down. When Shuiyin and Guan who hear Mayan's words, they suddenly become excited. Miss, are we finally going to attack the Tiandao sect? Haha, that's great. Ever since the last battle in Jingcheng country, how long has it been since we last moved? Our brother's bones are about to go moldy. I've long disliked those bastards from the Tiandao sect. Now I can finally destroy them. Ma Yuan and Lu Ying were dumbfounded. Wait a minute. He had only asked Miss June to help save those innocent girls. How did it develop to the point of destroying the heavenly Dao sect? That was the Tiandao sect. Tiandao sect. Yinwu continent's most powerful sect. The number of elders who have reached the pre-celestial level is innumerable. Was the Tiandao sect so easy to destroy? Upon hearing Ma Yuan's stuttering question, Shuiyin sneered. Humph. So what if it's the Tiandao sect? As long as my young mistress wants to do it, there's nothing she can't do. Isn't Gong Qianxue powerful? Isn't Jingcheng country powerful? Isn't it still destroyed by my family's miss with a flick of her finger? Not to mention, the Tiandao sect is even harboring our young Mrs. greatest enemy, Gong Qianxue. We've long wanted to annihilate the Tiandao sect. Now that it has delivered itself to our doorstep, it's simply courting death. Ma Yuan looks at Shuiyin and Guan who are spitting saliva as they speak, without the slightest bit of fear. Then he looks at Mayan, who has a tender and beautiful complexion, just like a pure and innocent girl. He gulped silently. Princess, princess, in front of us is the Wuwang mountain range, and it's already close to dusk. It's too dangerous to go in now. Why don't we go back? At the edge of the Wuwang mountain range, Li Wan led a group of subordinates. Her face was twisted and her eyes were filled with hatred. Shut up. That slut dared to humiliate this princess. This princess must capture her, pull out her tendons, and peel off her skin. Whoever dares to disobey this princess's order, just wait to be chopped up and fed to the dogs. Under Li Wan's tyrannical power and threat, the group of guards had no choice but to follow her into the Wuwang Mountains. Yesterday, Li Wan was ruthlessly taught a lesson by Mu Yin, and the guards around her were also mostly dealt with by Mu Yin. How could Li Wan have ever suffered this kind of grievance? Her heart is filled with hatred, but there's nothing she can do about Mu Yin. It wasn't until this morning when a new guard arrived from Huangyao country that she decided to wash away her shame. Chapter 708. Therefore, even if she knew the dangers of the Wuwang Mountains, Li Wan still desperately rushed in. But soon, Li Wan regretted it. As the night fell, Li Wan's ears were filled with the terrible roars of beasts. But there was no one around her. She was separated from her bodyguard. "Hey, there's a woman here. Quickly see if it's the escaped bitch." Just when Li Wan was panicking, she heard the voices of several men. "It's good that it's a human." Li Wan breathed a sigh of relief and shouted, "Bold wicked people, this Princess Li Wan is here. Quickly come and greet me." In the dark shadows, several men in yellow clothes slowly appeared. The leader's eyes unscrupulously swept over the princess and said in a low voice, "Princess, you really are the daughter of the Li family. Skate, since you're a princess, your bones must be good. Leader is right. We can't find that bitch. We'll definitely be punished when we go back. But if we bring a princess back..." Hee. The voices of these people were very soft. Li Wan couldn't hear them clearly. She impatiently shouted, "A bunch of trash. What are you waiting for? Why don't you quickly send this princess out of this damn place? Don't worry, when this princess gets out, there will be no lack of benefits for you." The leader revealed a gloomy smile and walked towards Li Wan, step by step. "Good. Since it's the princess's order, we will definitely let the princess leave this damn place." Li Wan looked at the man's gloomy eyes, frowned and said with disgust, "What are you? You dare to look at this princess like that? Believe it or not, this princess will let someone dig out your eyes." Before she finished her words, her eyes suddenly went black and she fainted. When she woke up again, Li Wan felt a burst of cold all over her body. From time to time, she could hear women crying, moaning, and hysterical cursing. Li Wan frowned and wanted to roar, but her whole body was limp and she couldn't even move. She reluctantly opened her eyes and found that she was in a dark and empty room. Around the room, there were iron cages. When Li Wan saw the scene in the iron cages, she was so scared that she almost screamed. Because in each cage was a naked woman. Some of them were like walking corpses, motionless, without any signs of life on their faces. There was also a man who was riding on her. The man was constantly moving his body, but the woman under him had a numb expression, as if the one being defiled was not her at all. There were also 2 or 3 women who struggled and cried under the men's bodies, but what they got in return was even more inhumane abuse. Even Li Wan, who had always been vicious by nature, couldn't help but shiver when she saw these hellish scenes. At this moment, she heard a somewhat familiar female voice. "You haven't caught that escaped sow yet? Princess, please calm down. Those 2 bitches escaped into the Wuwang Mountains. Now that it's already dark, I'm afraid they've already been eaten by the strange beasts in the Wuwang Mountains." Chapter 709. Yes. Princess, please calm down. The man's voice is full of fear as he says shakily, "We didn't do a good job. I didn't expect that this group of sows would be so shameless. I told them to stay in a separate room and serve them well, but they dared to run away. Princess is wise, letting them be like real sows, mating in public, giving birth in public, and not letting them wear a single piece of clothing. Like this, let's see how they can run, and whether they have the face to run." Li Wan raises her head with difficulty and looks in the direction of the voice. When she sees the woman's face in the faint candlelight, Li Wan suddenly widens her eyes. Gong Qianxue. No wonder she felt the woman's voice was familiar. This person turns out to be the princess of Jingcheng country. Li Wan once saw this woman at a banquet in Huangyao country. Hearing Li Wan's voice, Gong Qianxue looks over. The yellow-clothed man standing beside her immediately said, reporting to Princess, "Although we didn't find those 2 bitches, we met Li Wan alone in the Wuwang mountain range. We felt that Li Wan's aptitude was pretty good, so we brought her back." Gong Qianxue's gaze lingers on Li Wan's body, as if looking at an applauding plaything. Li Wan immediately becomes angry and says, "Gong Qianxue, what are you looking at? Hurry up and let me go. If you dare to touch a single hair of mine, my father will absolutely tear you to pieces." Gong Qianxue laughed in a low voice when she heard this. Then, the light laughter turns into unbridled laughter. She glances at the man in yellow next to her and says slowly, "You did well. The man in yellow hears this and immediately breathes a sigh of relief. He knows that he escaped a disaster. Gong Qinshua's gaze falls on Li Wan again, and she faintly says, "Since it's the princess, of course we must give the princess enough treatment. I remember that Li Wan is usually very desolate. I'm afraid it's not enough to have just one man. Go find a few more breeding pigs for the princess. I believe Her Royal Highness will be satisfied." Ha ha ha. The man in yellow immediately obeys and quickly whistles. Soon, 3 to 5 muscular men with half-naked bodies walked out. These men's cultivation is very high, but their appearance is very ugly. Seeing Li Wan lying on the ground, unable to move, they all revealed sinister expressions. Li Wan's expression finally changed. She screamed and wanted to retreat. "Gong Qinshu, you bitch! I am the princess of Huangyao country. Who do you think you are? How dare you touch me? Your Jingchang country has already been destroyed by Junmayan. Who in the world doesn't know that? You trash! If you dare to lay your hands on me, I promise to make you wish you were dead. My father will never let you off." Hearing Li Wan say, "Your Jingchang country has already been destroyed by Junmayan," Gong Qinshua's face distorts. Chapter 7:10. Li Wan looked over nervously, only to see the naked woman staring at the ceiling. There was no focus in her pupils, and on her belly, there were 2 hideous scars. But this was not what shocked Li Wan. What shocked her was the woman's appearance. "Mu? Imperial Mother?" Li Wan's voice trembled as she screamed. This woman's appearance was exactly the same as her imperial mother, who should have died in childbirth 2 years ago. Li Wan's imperial mother was imperial concubine Cheng in the imperial palace of Huangyao country. She still remembered that more than 2 years ago, her imperial mother was pregnant with a child. The imperial doctor said it was likely to be a boy. At that time, Li Wan thought that by helping her brother ascend the throne, she would be able to do whatever she wanted. However, he didn't expect that his mother would suddenly disappear a month before the birth. When she was found, she was already an unrecognizable corpse wearing his mother's clothes. Gong Qinshu slowly walked in front of Li Wan and grabbed her hair, forcing her face to stick to the scars on imperial concubine Cheng's belly. "Do you know what the pill your imperial father ate was made of? It's the baby in this woman's belly, your brother." Gong Qinshu looked at Li Wan who was desperately shaking her head in horror, and laughed even more happily. "Your mother's aptitude is really good. She's already had 2 fetuses removed, but the essence in her body hasn't been exhausted yet. That's why we still kept her womb palace, and in just 2 months, she's pregnant with her 3rd child. But after this child is removed, she will be useless. At that time, we will cut off her womb palace." Gong Qinshua's gaze fell on Li Wan's pale face, and her smile was like that of a devil. "But I believe that your Imperial Highness's aptitude must be better than your Imperial Mother's, so you will definitely be able to have more fetuses." "No, no, no. You can't do this to me." Li Wan finally broke down and cried, "I don't want to be a sow. I don't want to get pregnant. I don't want to have a fetus removed. Gong Qinshu, please let me go. I will do anything you want me to do. Please let me go." However, her screams and cries did not attract the slightest bit of sympathy. 3 strong men walked up to her and dragged her to the side without hesitation. They tore off her clothes. These breeding pigs had done this countless times. Hearing Li Wan's screams, threats, and cries, not only did he not feel the slightest bit of pity, he became even more excited. One man after another disregarded her struggles and cries as they ravaged her body. In the beginning, Li Wan cursed and cried hysterically. In the end, she lost all her strength and could only moan as she drowned. At this moment, she suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of regret. In front of her eyes, it was as if the resentful and hateful eyes of the men she had played with before appeared. Those men had been drugged by her and were humiliated by her. If they didn't serve her well, they would be rewarded to her subordinates and end up in a miserable state. And at this moment, her humiliation, despair, and pain seemed to overlap with those men. The heavenly Tao reincarnated. Now, this retribution had finally fallen on her head. The man in yellow shoved the drug into Li Wanner's mouth. Her body couldn't help but heat up. She shamelessly catered to the man's invasion. Chapter 7:11. Princess, the elixir you gave is really of the highest quality. The yellow-clothed man fawningly says to Gong Qianxue. After taking the elixir, the probability of these sows conceiving a fetus has increased a lot. Presumably, this elixir must have come from Master Jian Feng's hands. Gong Qianxue proudly smiles, not saying anything. The yellow-clothed man continues to flatter. In this world, the only person who can make Master Jian Feng casually take out an elixir is you, princess. Master Jian Feng is truly devoted to you, princess. Gong Qianxue's eyes darken. Then she suddenly points to a woman in the corner and says in a low voice, "Pull that woman onto the dissection table for me." The yellow-clothed man stares blankly at her. But that woman's fetus is only 7 months old. I'm afraid that the effects of the elixir might not be the best. Gong Qianxue coldly looks at him. You want to disobey my orders? The yellow-clothed man is startled. This subordinate doesn't dare. What are you still standing there for? Hurry and pull that sow over. Gong Qianxue's expression is gloomy and dark. She also doesn't want to use a fetus that's not even a month old to refine elixir. However, the injury caused by that slut Jun Mayan several months ago still hasn't healed yet. Jian Feng has tried all kinds of methods, but he still couldn't let her body recover to its original state. In desperation, Jian Feng mentioned this place to nurture pill embryos. As long as she uses these specially raised pill embryos to refine a kind of elixir with the prescription, she can definitely recover immediately, and her strength might even improve. But these pill embryos are raised by the highest level elders of the Heavenly Road sect to prolong their lifespan. Jian Feng tried every possible way to persuade the elders to agree to let a fetus heal Gong Qianxue. That is the already more than 8 months old fetus in Lu Ying's belly. Gong Qianxue is anxious, and she couldn't wait to come here, wanting to dig out the fetus along with her womb palace to let Jian Feng refine elixir to treat her injury. She didn't expect that Lu Ying would actually run away. In this way, the elders of the Heavenly Road sect might not agree to a second fetus. How could Gong Qianxue accept this? Since there's no 8-month fetus, 7 months is also fine. In any case, she must heal her injuries, restore her cultivation, and then find that slut Jun Mayan to take revenge. When the pregnant woman is dragged in front of Gong Qianxue, she unwaveringly protects her belly, her face full of panic and pleading. I beg you, don't kill my child. If you want to eat me, please. This was the first time the girl was pregnant. Even if the father of this child was a scumbag demon, an animal who forced her. However, as the child in her womb grew day by day, the girl's maternal instincts were aroused, and she wanted to protect the fetus in her womb. Chapter 7:12. Without any anesthetic, the man in yellow picks up a knife and cuts open her bulging belly. Ah, don't hurt my child. Chun Lingyu lets out a mournful wail and struggles desperately. I beg you, don't hurt my child. Gong Qianxue, you are so crazy, you will get what you deserve. Even if I become a ghost, I will never let you go. Child, my child. Blood spreads on the dissection table, and Chun Lingyu's mournful cry echoes in the huge underground palace. The girls locked in the cages all revealed a look of sorrow and despair, as if they were the same kind of people. Even Li Wanner, who is being defiled, stares blankly at this scene. Thinking that one day this will be her end, she can't stop her tears from gushing out. She really wants to die. If it is such a future, she would rather die. The fetus in Chun Lingyu's belly is cut out alive. The man in yellow quickly takes out a jade box, puts the fetus in the box, and hands it to Gong Qianxue. Gong Qianxue looks at the bloody fetus in the jade box with satisfaction, especially when she sees that the baby in the box even bounces his calf. She is even more happy. This means that the baby's vitality is very strong, and refining it into elixirs will naturally have a better effect. Gong Qianxue closes the jade box and is about to leave, but the hem of her clothes is suddenly grabbed by a hand covered with blood. I curse you, not to have a good end. and go to the 18 levels of hell after death. Chen Lingyu's eyes stare at her, and the hatred in her eyes is like a sea of blood that fills the sky. There was no longer any trace of innocence on her young face. All that was left was a gloomy, cold, and deathly darkness. Gong Qianxue frowns, shakes off her hand and sneers. This woman's uterus has been cut off, completely useless. Throw her body out to feed the dogs. Yes, princess. Thousands of men in yellow are about to lift Chen Lingyu's body. Suddenly, there is a loud bang outside. The whole underground palace shakes, and the dust and stones above rustle down. Gong Qianxue frowns and asks in a deep voice, "What happened?" The yellow-robed man was also surprised. "This subordinate will go take a look." However, before he could finish his sentence, a few yellow-robed men covered in blood stumbled into the room with fear written all over their faces. "Commander, someone has come to kill us. Our brothers can't hold them back." The yellow-robed man revealed an expression of disbelief. "How is this possible? This place is so well hidden. Moreover, the guards outside are all at heaven rank. In this Yanwu continent, how many forces can contend with this organization? Even if they could resist, they would vaguely know that their side was inextricably linked to the Tiandao sect. Who would dare to offend the #1 sect in the world, the Tiandao sect?" Gong Qianxue's expression changed, and a bad premonition surged in her heart. However, before she could confirm with the yellow-robed man, the iron door of the underground palace gave out a loud bang and collapsed. A figure dressed in clothes as white as snow appeared at the door, looking at Gong Qianxue lazily and coldly, causing Gong Qianxue's pupils to suddenly contract. June Mayan. It's actually June Mayan. Why was she here? Chapter 7:13. Gong Qianxue's lips tremble, the hatred and fear in her eyes mixed together. She hoarsely spits out 3 words, June Mayan. As soon as she thinks of June Mayan's methods, and the humiliation and pain she once suffered when she fell into her hands, Gong Qianxue's body trembles like a sieve. "You! Hurry up and stop this woman!" Gong Qianxue screamed and ordered all the men in yellow to attack. He frantically retreated and then took out a token from his bosom. This token was given to her by Jian Feng to protect her life after he saved her last time. Its function was to teleport. However, there's no spiritual energy in the Yanwu continent. If she wants to activate this token, she can only consume a large amount of blood essence. Gong Qianxue was originally injured and had not yet recovered. This time, she had consumed a large amount of blood essence. She was afraid that she would never have the chance to ascend to the cultivation continent again. But at this moment, she had nowhere else to go. If she falls into June Mayan's hands, she will definitely die a very ugly death. A large mouthful of blood sprayed onto the token. Gong Qianxue's face was deathly pale, but the token lit up with a faint light, enveloping her within. Gong Qianxue fiercely glared at Mu Yin, who was not far away, and screamed, "June Mu Yin, just you wait. I will let you know the consequences of offending me, Gong Qianxue." Before she could finish her sentence, a white ball suddenly hit her in the chest. Gong Qianxue only heard a cracking sound from her ribs, and a sharp pain came from her chest. She suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. She can't hold on to the baby's jade box in her hand. It flies out and falls into Mayan's hand. "My core embryo." Gong Qianxue screamed unwillingly. This was her hope for recovery. However, the light from the token had already enveloped her completely, causing her to disappear without a trace. Mu Yin looks at the place where Gong Qianxue disappeared and frowns. Disappeared into thin air? It's just a low-level teleportation array. Di Mingju's voice comes from the side, and the man takes advantage of this opportunity to pull her into his arms. This kind of transmission array generally only has a radius of 5.5 miles. If you want to catch her, Yin Yin, it'll be as easy as turning over your hand. Mu Yin looks at the jade box in her hand and chuckles. There's no need. Let's just wait to go to the Heavenly Road sect. There is no spiritual energy in the Yanwu continent. Gong Qianxue might have paid a considerable price to activate the transmission array. It's a pity that we can only linger on for a few more days. Di Mingju looks at the high-spirited young girl in his arms, her lazy and arrogant appearance. He only feels that he likes her very much. He, Deming-ju's woman, naturally has the capital to be arrogant. Miss, everyone in this underground palace has been dealt with. Guanhu and Shuiyin take the people of the Ink Camp and the Grand Void Camp who have just arrived, and throw the tied-up man in yellow and those breeding pigs on the ground. As for the naked women in the cages, Shuiyin asked the Grand Void Battalion's people to take out clothes and put them on. However, when some women saw them, they would be slow to react and shed tears, asking themselves if they were saved. There were also some women who seemed to have lost their minds. No matter if they were saved or fed food, they didn't react at all. Even Guanhu and Shuiyin, who were hard-hearted people, couldn't help but feel sour in their hearts as they watched this scene, feeling more and more that Tiandao sect and Gong Qinchue weren't human. When Li Wan'er found out that it was Mu Yin who had barged in, she thought that she wouldn't have a good ending. Chapter 7:14. Feeling the pain in her body and the warmth of the robe, Li Wan'er finally couldn't help but cry. Miss. Shuiyin suddenly saw Chen Lingyu on the dissection table and screamed, "It's Senior Sister Chen. Miss, quickly take a look. Can Senior Sister Chen be saved?" Shuiyin was originally a disciple of the Purple Sun sect, but she didn't enter the sect because she admired its martial arts. It was because Bai Yichen had saved her life. Therefore, after Bai Yichen left the Purple Sun sect and joined the Dark Flame Army, Shuiyin also left with him. However, Bai Yichen and Shuiyin were very attached to the Purple Sun sect. Especially after they chose to leave, the elders of Ziyangzong not only didn't blame them, they even prepared a lot of drafts and weapons for them. Now that she saw her senior sister Chen in such a state, how could Shuiyin not be shocked? Mu Yin quickly steps forward and checks on Chen Lingyu's condition. Her breathing had stopped, and her heartbeat had also stopped. It was obvious that there was no hope for her. Shuiyin had also learned some medical knowledge, so she couldn't help but reveal a sorrowful expression. But when Mu Yin sees Chen Lingyu's stomach being cut open and the fetus being taken out alive, a burning flame flashes through her eyes. In her previous life, Xiaobao had also been poached away by the Su family like this by Gong Qinchue. If she had not been reincarnated, her ending would have been as miserable as Chen Lingyu's. Mu Yin takes a deep breath, takes a step forward, and quickly sutures the wound on Chen Lingyu's abdomen. Shuiyin wipes her tears, her eyes red as she watches Mayan stitch up Chen Lingyu's body. Just when she thought that the young miss only wanted to keep senior sister Chen's body intact, she realized that the young miss didn't give up. Mu Yin stuffs a pill into Chen Lingyu's mouth and props up her chin to make her swallow it. However, Chen Lingyu's aura was still completely gone, and her heartbeat was still dead. Shuiyin said with red and swollen eyes, "Miss, senior apprentice Sister Chen is already dead. No matter how powerful you are, it's also impossible to resurrect a dead person. Please don't be sad." However, Mu Yan's calm and steady voice came to her ears. That might not be the case. Not necessarily? Not necessarily what? Not necessarily dead? Shuiyin's eyes widened. Guanhu and the girl who was still conscious also revealed shocked expressions. Even Deming-ju is looking at his wife with great interest. Could she really bring the dead back to life? How is this possible? Mu Yin quickly recalled Bailey Liuin's notes. Then, he placed his hands on Chen Lingyu's chest. Once. Then, he pried open Chen Lingyu's mouth and slowly exhaled. Deming-ju's face immediately turns black. Her yin-yin is actually kissing someone else, even if it's a woman. Jun Shangdaran naturally doesn't know that this is artificial respiration, a method of cardiopulmonary resuscitation. But Mu Yin knows. She remembered what Bailey Liuin had written in his notebook. If a person's heart suddenly stopped beating, there was a chance that they could be saved by performing CPR within a short period of time. This was Mu Yan's first time using CPR. She didn't know if it would be successful. But looking at Chen Lingyu's corpse, she couldn't help but think of herself in her previous life. If God hadn't given her a chance, would she still be able to have Xiaobao again? Could she still save her brother and father in this life and establish the Nether Flame Army? Can she still meet Deming-ju? Mu Yin says unhurriedly, "You decide your own fate, it has nothing to do with me. But if you want to find Gong Qianxue for revenge, I'm sorry, but you have to line up." She was not the only one who wanted to take revenge on Gong Qianxue in the Hellflame Valley. There were also Bai Yiqin and Yin Haoyin. Naturally, Chun Lingyu could only sit at the back. Chun Lingyu was stunned. But she heard Mayan chuckle and point to the tied-up man in yellow. "However, you can first collect a little interest from the Heavenly Road sect and Gong Qianxue." Chen Lingyu and the girls who were still conscious looked at the man in yellow. Chapter 716. You can't lay your hands on us. We are the people of the Tiandao sect. If you kill us, the Tiandao sect will never let you off. Chun Lingyu's face reveals a sinister and terrifying smile. Then, she takes the medicine that was originally given to them and feeds it to these people. The only difference is that the breeding pigs are fed drugs that enhance their sexual desire. But what the yellow-clothed men take is a drug that makes their whole body weak. The effects of the drug kick in, and each and every one of those breeding pigs let out moans that make people blush and their hearts beat faster. Chun Lingyu lets the girls untie them and throws them all into a big cage. Then, the breeding pigs, unable to vent the effects of the drug, begin to howl and chase after the yellow-clothed men, tearing off their clothes. Even if they're all men, when the effects of the drug kick in, they can't do anything about it. These yellow-clothed men were originally high and aloof, dictating the life and death of others. But at this time, they're locked in a cage, desperately chased by the men in heat, their clothes torn to shreds. Their bodies are pressed against the iron railings, wantonly trampled. Their cultivation has long since disappeared under the effects of the drug, but their consciousness is still clear. They can only experience this hellish despair and pain. At first, the yellow-clothed men would still curse and beg for mercy, but in the end, all that's left is a hair-thin scream. The entire underground palace is filled with a bloody and nauseating smell. Ha ha, ha 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 ha, how does it feel to be treated as a sow? How does it feel to be defiled at will? Animals, you're a group of heartless animals. All of you will die a horrible death. Boo-hoo, children. Nyangqin has avenged you. The women's blood-sobbing cries make the originally carefree vengeance tainted with a mournful taste. Those who originally thought that this kind of revenge is a bit terrifying can't help but feel the same when they hear the women's cries. They only feel that this kind of punishment for this group of animals is far from enough. Deming Ju covers Mu Yan's eyes, not letting her see this dirty scene. Mu Yan doesn't resist, but takes out the Tian Emochin and slowly plays it. Floating like a dream, activates. Waking up is pain, dreaming is hell. Even if these people die, their souls will never be free. This is the price they pay for being heartless. The raging flames burned this bloody and dark organization into ashes. The underground palace below was also blasted into dust by Mu Yin. Ma Liang and Lu Ying, who were waiting outside, listened to the rumbling explosion, then looked at the raging flames, and Mu Yin and the others who walked out of the flames unscathed. They were so shocked that their jaws almost dropped. It was destroyed? The nightmarish place that had trapped them for so long had been destroyed in just one night, and it had been destroyed so easily. When Lu Ying saw the young girl walking out, as well as Chun Lingyu, who was also carrying a child, she could no longer hold back her tears. Their nightmare was finally over, wasn't it? She could finally start a new life? And all of this was brought to her by the girl before her, Jun Mayan. A large portion of the girls rescued from the underground palace chose to follow Mayan to live in the ghastly Flame Valley. This included Lu Ying, Ma Yuan, and Chun Lingyu. There were also a small number who chose to return to their original families. Chapter 717. As soon as Li Waner saw her imperial mother, who had already lost consciousness, being supported by Li Waner, she felt extremely disgusted by her so-called imperial father. It was only then that she realized how filthy and disgusting the palace that seemed to be golden and magnificent was. Mu Yin had always welcomed anyone who sought shelter with her. Li Waner wanted to follow her, and she didn't refuse. The Hellflame Valley could accept all kinds of people, However, to truly become a part of the Nether Flame army, one could only do so through a long period of hard work and perseverance. As for sneaking into the Hellflame Valley to pry for secrets, that was just a joke. This was because ordinary people could only live in the periphery of the Netherflame Valley. The ones who truly knew the secrets of the Netherflame Valley were the 4 core elites of the Netherflame army. Now, these girls were just a group of ordinary people under her protection. After dealing with these, Mu Yin is about to leave. Suddenly, there was a violent fluctuation in space. Mu Yin was startled. She waved her hand in the air, and Xiao Bao immediately appeared in her arms. But right now, little Bao's face was flushed, and his eyes were bewildered. His little body was trembling non-stop. Xiao Bao. Mu Yan's expression could no longer remain calm. Her hand that wanted to check Xiao Bao's pulse was almost trembling. Little big brother is going to advance. The soft and gentle voice of a little girl suddenly came from within Xiao Bao's body. Because I advanced too quickly, my mental state is still unstable. That's why an inner demon was born. If I don't think of something immediately, little brother might die. Even if little big brother succeeds in advancing, it will be very difficult for him to cultivate in the future. Sob, what should I do? Chocho's strength isn't enough right now, so I can't help little big brother. But Chocho doesn't want little big brother to get hurt. Even more so, I don't want little big brother to die. Sob. The one who spoke was the little phoenix ball that had signed a contract with Xiao Bao. But little Phoenix's explanation, not only did it not make Mayan feel at ease, it made her anxious instead. Xiao Bao actually developed an inner demon? Everyone who practiced martial arts knew what an inner demon was. Once the inner demon took shape, the best outcome would be the destruction of one's cultivation, and the worst would be. Mu Yin doesn't dare to think further. At this moment, her mind was a mess. She looked at Xiao Bao, who was burning red and twitching in her arms. Mu Yin only feels like her heart is being cut by a knife. Don't be afraid. Di Mingju's voice is soft and low, like a cool breeze blowing away the icy fog in front of her eyes. It's just a low-level heart's devil, nothing more. Di Mingju's son. How could he not be able to overcome it? Mayan subconsciously raises her head to look at Di Mingju, her eyes unconsciously carrying a trace of pleading. Di Mingju, what should I do? How can we save Xiao Bao? Don't be afraid, Yin Yin. Di Mingju lowers his head and gently kisses the space between Mayan's eyebrows. His voice carries a bone-piercing tenderness. I won't let anything happen to our child. After Di Mingju says this, he raises a finger and presses it between Xiao Bao's eyebrows. Yingmei couldn't help but frown. She seemed to want to dissuade him, but in the end, she endured it. As a pure energy flowed into the space between Xiao Bao's eyebrows, his twitching body gradually calmed down. The redness on his skin, which seemed to be on fire, also gradually faded. The surrounding air trembled violently, as if it was stirred up by some terrifying force. But after a cold glint flashes in Di Mingju's eyes, he calms down. For a moment, Di Mingju's complexion pales. Chapter 718. Di Mingju's complexion quickly recovers. He moves closer to Mu Yin and looks at her with a smile that isn't a smile. Bin Jun naturally has to pay some price. If Yin Yin feels that you owe Bin Jun, how about giving yourself to me? This idiot. He's actually still teasing her at this time. Mu Yin glares at him fiercely and reaches out to grab his wrist to examine it. Only after confirming that there's no major problem does she breathe a sigh of relief. Di Mingju slightly frowns, looking at Xiao Bao thoughtfully. Just now, in order to suppress the demon inside Xiao Bao's body, he used God power. But ordinary people can't bear pure God power, and it will inevitably overflow. Once the God power overflows, the space of the Yinwu continent will fluctuate, and he will receive a backlash from the rules of the heavenly Tao. However, just now, when he sent the God power into Xiao Bao's body, it was completely absorbed by Xiao Bao. Even if it overflowed, it was only a wisp, and he quickly suppressed it. Xiao Bao can actually completely absorb his God power. It's like that little body is completely compatible with his own power. Even in the Xiuxian continent, There has never been anyone who could completely withstand the god power of the polar domain's sovereign. Why can this little guy? Nyang Qin. Xiao Bao's soft and husky voice interrupts Di Mingju's thoughts. The little guy's blue eyes fall on his face, and he softly calls out, "Daddy." Di Mingju's heart trembles. A kind of shock that blood is thicker than water spreads through his body. At this moment, he actually feels that Xiao Bao is his child, a child connected by blood. Mu Yan's full attention is on Xiao Bao, so she doesn't notice Di Mingju's abnormality. But contrary to her usual behavior, she doesn't hold Xiao Bao in her arms to kiss and hug him. Instead, she looks at him with a straight face. "Xiao Bao, tell Nyang Qin, what is your heart's demon?" Xiao Bao has been by her side for so long, getting along with him day after day, but she completely doesn't know when Xiao Bao had a heart's demon. Such a small child, no more than 4 or 5 years old, but he already has a heart's demon. Fortunately, Di Mingju was there this time and saved him. But what about later? If this heart's demon isn't eliminated, will Xiao Bao encounter danger again when he advances? His thick and long eyelashes gently droop. Xiao Bao is like a child who has done something wrong, and his head is lowered, but he refuses to speak for a long time. Jun Machin. Mu Yan raises her voice, her expression cold. "If you don't speak, Nyang Qin won't like you anymore." Patter. Tears fell from her long eyelashes, drop after drop. When the Nether Flame army saw Xiao Bao's pitiful appearance, their hearts were about to melt. They wished they could present the best things in the world to him. However, there were 2 people with hearts of stone who did not move at all. Di Mingju looks down at him, faintly saying, "If you don't even have the courage to face it, what qualifications do you have to be my Di Mingju's child?" Lil Treasure's body trembled, and then he looked up. Her tearful eyes look at Mayan. "I want to protect Nyang Qin. I want to become as strong as Daddy to protect Nyang Qin. I don't want Nyang Qin to protect me every time, to get hurt because of me." Chapter 719. The tip of Mayan's nose turns sour, and tears come to her eyes. She reaches out and pulls Xiao Bao into her arms, hugging him tightly. "Idiot Jun Machin. What nonsense are you thinking about every day? What Nyang Qin wants the most is not for you to become strong, but for you to live happily by Nyang Qin's side." But Xiao Bao gloomily wants to speak, but is interrupted by Mayan. "But it seems that Nyang Qin used to look down on you too much and spoiled you too much." Xiao Bao stares blankly, looking up at Mayan. Mayan pushes him towards Di Mingju. "Since Xiao Bao calls you daddy, then the task of training Xiao Bao will be handed over to you in the future. I'm warning you. You must train my baby son to become the most powerful man in the world." Di Mingju's brows are deep. The corners of his mouth curl into a smile as he says in a hoarse voice, "Yin Yin, do you know what you're saying?" Mayan's face turns red, and she says in a fierce manner, What is it?" "I just want Xiao Bao to recognize you as his adoptive father, that's all. Don't talk nonsense with me." Everyone from Hellfire Valley. Their families' miss and son-in-law's daily display of affection is simply unbearable. Mayan takes a deep breath, avoiding Di Mingju's burning gaze. Looking at Xiao Bao, she says in a low voice, "If this is Xiao Bao's wish, Nyang Qin will support Xiao Bao to fulfill it. Because in Nyang Qin's heart, Xiao Bao has always been very, very strong. One day, you will be stronger than your daddy." Xiao Bao's eyes suddenly light up, like 2 of the most beautiful sapphires. He rushes into Mayan's arms, hugging her tightly, and says in a low, muffled voice, "Nyang Qin, one day, I will defeat Daddy and then snatch you back." Mayan, Di Mingju. "Bin Jun trained you just to snatch Yin Yin from Bin Jun?" Everyone from Hellfire Valley can't help but laugh lowly. The Mrs. family of 3 has such a good relationship, so happy. Just then, a sudden shout comes from the sky. "Which bandit dares to behave atrociously in my Heavenly Road sect's territory?" Almost as soon as the voice is heard, a figure rushes over from the horizon, landing in front of everyone. Seeing the person, Ma Yuan screams in horror, "Wan? It's Elder Wan." Elder Wan of Heavenly Road sect is also one expert who has reached the peak of Pre-Celestial, just 1 step away from the peak of Pre-Celestial. Only 1 step, and he will reach the pre-celestial peak. Just like Gong Qianqua's subordinate, Duo Yin, who was also at the peak of the Xiantian realm, but under Elder Wan's hands, he probably wouldn't even be able to last for the time it takes to brew a cup of tea. Ma Yuan had even heard that this Elder Wan had annihilated a small sect by himself. Elder Landon, Elder of Yin of Wan of sect. When he saw the burnt underground palace and the rescued young girls, a cold glint flashed across his eyes. Of Chun. Of Mu. You are the ones who are audacious enough to go against my Tiandao sect and even destroy our underground palace? One of the of Tian, families the of Aao, of Wan, of Shao of Chin, of Jun of he, Chan, he of Elder Wan is already over 100 years old, but he has been able to live well, and his cultivation has been progressing little by little, relying on the elixirs refined from the fetuses in the wombs of these girls. The Nether Flame army was stunned as they turned to look at their son-in-law. But Deming Ju turns his gaze towards Xiao Bao. You, go kill him. Xiao Bao's eyes slightly widen. Then he looks at Mayan. But Deming Ju faintly says, don't look at your mother. Didn't you say that you want to become stronger? Want to break through your heart's devil? Think of a way to kill him yourself and break through to the innate realm. Tell me you're not bragging. Lil Bao's hands were clenched tightly into fists. Without waiting for anyone to react, he took a step forward and walked up to Elder Wan. Elder Wan felt as if he had heard the funniest joke, letting a 4 or 5-year-old kid kill him. Chapter 721. He was Tiandao sect's Elder Wan, a first-step Xiantian full-circle martial artist. Even if, as a child, this little boy's cultivation was indeed very high. Elder Wan narrowed his eyes in shock, because only now did he notice that little Bao's cultivation had actually attained the perfection stage of the heaven rank. He was just one step away from entering the innate realm. A 4 or 5-year-old child could actually reach the innate realm. Who would believe such a thing? But on the other hand, it also proved that this child's innate talent had already reached a heaven-defying level. If he could refine this child's skin and bones into a pill and consume it, what kind of effect would there be? At the thought of this, Elder Wan's eyes burned with passion, as if they were about to burst into flames. Even his desire for Mu Yin has been thrown to the back of his mind. Little boy, be obedient and follow Grandpa. Grandpa promises that I won't hurt a single finger of yours. But if you don't listen, then don't blame Grandpa for being impolite. Little Bao looked at him coldly, his icy blue eyes filled with disdain and ridicule. Old dog, who are you calling grandfather? Puff. Guan Hu almost spat out a mouthful of water. Everyone in the Nether Flame army turns their accusing gazes towards Guan Hu and the Ink Camp. It was all these fellows' fault for always having a big mouth. They had actually led astray their immortal-like little master. Guan Hu touches his nose guiltily, not daring to look at Mu Yan's eyes. In fact, among the 4 camps of the Nether Flame army, the strongest is the Ink Camp. But strictly speaking, the real master of the Ink Camp isn't Mu Yan, but Xiao Bao. Therefore, Xiao Bao usually spends the most time hanging out with this group of uncouth men from the Ink Camp. They didn't expect that their lovable, exquisite, and aloof little mistress would actually be led astray by this group of uncouth men from the Ink Camp. In the future, they're going to forbid their little mistress from having too much contact with this bunch of guys from the Ink Camp. Mu Yin doesn't care about Xiao Bao's catchphrase in the slightest. Her baby could live however he wanted. He didn't need to care about other people's opinions, nor did he need to care about the teachings of the secular world. As long as her Xiao Bao was happy, that was enough. She was worried about the battle between Xiao Bao and Elder Wan. Xiao Bao's innate talent is very high. Under Deming Ju's training, his strength is far higher than people of the same cultivation level. However, the problem was that Elder Wan had stepped into the Xiantian full circle in one step. Mu Yin clearly knew that Xiao Bao was definitely not his match. Sure enough, Elder Wan was infuriated by Xiao Bao calling him an old dog. He roared and charged at Xiao Bao. A terrifying pressure and majestic, profound energy surrounded them, firmly suppressing Xiaobao. Even if Xiaobao relied on his nimble figure to dodge every single fatal attack, he was still overstretched and was surrounded by danger. Mu Yan's heart is hanging by a thread. She wants to help, but she's afraid of disturbing Di Mingju's training of Xiaobao. As a result, she doesn't dare to act blindly without thinking. Finally, she heard the man's deep voice. Graceful feather. It's just a few words, but Mayan immediately understands. The Tianimo Qin appears out of thin air. The strings are plucked, and the melodious sound of the Qin drifts out. Graceful feather. Activated. Along with the sound of the zither, a strand of 7-colored energy that was invisible to the naked eye overflowed from Mu Yan's fingertip and floated around, twining around Xiaobao and Elder Wan. As more and more of this energy twines around them, Elder Wan suddenly feels that his body has become no longer flexible, and the circulation of his spiritual energy has also become sluggish. She just quietly watched Xiaobao fight, silently accompanying him with her zither music, believing in him. Without Mu Yan's order, no one in the Nether Flame Army would be moved. Di Mingju is also looking at Xiaobao on the battlefield, but his expression is much more natural than Mayan's. When he was Xiaobao's age, he had already traversed mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Xiaobao was the son he recognized, the future successor of the polar domain. If he didn't even have the strength to overcome his inner demons and the bottleneck, wouldn't that be a joke? Ha ha ha. It seems that the protectors you want to rely on have already decided to abandon you. Chapter 7:23. There's a clattering sound. The steel blade carries a majestic energy as it fiercely swings towards Xiaobao. Elder Wan's mouth seems to be getting carried away with pride, but the movements of his hands don't relax in the slightest. Every strike is made with all his strength. An experienced superior like him has long known that a little bit of carelessness can lead to a reversal by the opponent. The fierce energy is mixed with a cold blade intent, and Xiao Bao's whole body is flipped over. He tumbles in the air for several days. Then he lands on the ground and suddenly spits out a mouthful of blood. The little body shakes violently, as if it could fall down at any time. Xiao Bao stabs the long sword into the ground with a backhand to stabilize his figure. But it affects his wound, and he spits out another mouthful of blood. Clang! The Tianimo Qin finally makes a chaotic sound. Mu Yan's complexion is bright white, her hands full of blood, and she abruptly stands up. The Nether Flame Army cries out, "Little Master," and they're about to rush over. However, Di Mingju steps forward and stops Mu Yan. He holds her in his arms, and lovingly holds her injured hand in his palm. The man's low and gentle voice seems to have infinite magic, making her believe, making her rely on him. Believe in that little guy. He won't let you down. Immerse swings her long sword, cutting a deep gully in the ground, blocking the way of the Nether Flame Army. The Master's order is an iron law. No one can defy it. Moreover, she believes that the little Gongzi will definitely win. That's Miss June's son. That's the future king of the polar domain. Elder Wan holds the steel blade horizontally across his chest, revealing a sinister smile. Little guy, you can't even stand up? Still not willing to admit defeat? His gaze sweeps over Mu Yan and Di Mingju standing to the side, his eyes filled with ruthlessness and tyranny. Elder Wan isn't a fool. Listening to their conversation, he knows that these people want him to be a whetstone for this little thing. But who is he? He's Elder Wan of the Heavenly Road sect. These people want to use him as a whetstone. Then they've definitely chosen the wrong person. Right now, he's going to kill this little guy in front of these people. At the thought of these people, especially that beautiful woman, revealing a pained and regretful expression, Elder Wan's eyes turned red with excitement. He walked towards Xiao Bao step by step, the steel saber in his hand slowly enveloped in a layer of blue light. This was his unique skill, the blue domain demonic fire. As long as one was burned by the blue domain demonic fire, not only would the qi in one's body be completely absorbed, but the wound would also be extremely painful and could never be healed. However, the blue domain demonic fire could only be used once a month, so Elder Wand did not intend to use it at first. But now, he was going to teach this bunch of arrogant things a lesson they would never forget. Little bastard, go to hell. When he got close to the range of the saber aura, Elder Wand roared and raised his saber. A blue flame went straight for Xiao Bao's frail figure. Elder Wand could not help but let out a carefree laugh as he watched the blue flames engulf the little boy's small body. Do you see that? This is the result of going against me, against the Tiandao sect. However, his laughter came to a screeching halt after a few breaths. The place where Xiao Bao was just a moment ago suddenly erupted with a dazzling light. Chapter 724. Elder Wand only feels a stabbing pain in his eyes, and tears uncontrollably pour out from his eyes. What's going on? What happened? He mutters, and for the first time, his voice carries a hint of panic. Then, he hears the rumbling of thunder. Elder Wand can't help but look up at the sky, only to see that in the sky, dense thunderclouds have gathered at some unknown time. But what's shocking is that these thunderclouds aren't the usual grayish-black, but are ice blue and transparent, like a huge sapphire hanging in the air. What is this? Elder Wand has never seen such a thing. The other people present are also shocked silly. The people who were just worried about Xiao Bao's life and death can't help but look up at the sky. A question flashed across everyone's mind. What exactly was this? Only Di Mingju's expression is shocked, his blue eyes rippling, seemingly unable to recover for a long time. And Ning Mei is completely dumbfounded. The little Gongzi is advancing to the pre-celestial stage, and it's the Soul Sea Tribulation that only people in the Xiuzhen continent can cross when they reach Yuanying. Her little master is going to ascend to the heavens. That's right, at this critical moment, Xiao Bao finally broke through the shackles of heaven stage and advanced to the pre-celestial stage. But even Mu Yin didn't expect that her own baby's advancement to the pre-celestial stage would cause such a big movement. The dark blue thunderclouds in the sky are getting thicker and thicker, and then a thick bolt of lightning strikes down from the void, falling on the place where Xiao Bao was just a moment ago. Mu Yan's heart hangs up again. She only heard that when a martial artist crosses a tribulation, 9 out of 10 will die, and 1 will survive. In her previous life, the thunder tribulation that came from forging her body and training her soul directly took away half of her life. Can Xiao Bao get through it safely? However, before she can worry and step forward to protect Xiao Bao, Di Mingju grabs her hand and says faintly, "Don't worry, a mere soul sea tribulation can't destroy the immortal body. On the contrary, it will make his soul more solid, and the chances of being invaded by the heart demon will be greatly reduced." Mu Yan's footsteps stop. Then, she finds that it's just as Di Mingju said. The thunder tribulation strikes Xiao Bao's body, but it only makes his clothes tattered, and his expression becomes more and more firm and persistent. All of Mu Yan's attention is on Xiao Bao, so she doesn't notice the flash of puzzlement on Di Mingju's face. Why did Xiao Bao trigger the tribulation of the Soul Sea at a young age, just like him? Was it really just a coincidence? Only after 81 bolts of lightning fell did the blue thunderclouds slowly dissipate. Elder Wand's eyes were filled with shock as he looked at Xiao Bao, who was dressed in rags and seemed to be in a sorry state. Chapter 725. He spits out a mouthful of blood and unwillingly falls down. Xiao Bao withdraws his long sword, glances at Elder Wand, who is already exhaling more than he's inhaling, and no longer pays attention to him. Instead, he walks back to Mu Yin step by step. He raises his dusty little face, his big blue eyes staring unblinkingly at Mu Yin. "Nyangqin, Xiao Bao can protect you. Xiao Bao won't drag you and daddy down." Mu Yan's voice is choked with sobs, and only after a long while does she speak in a gentle voice. Nyangqin knows. Xiao Bao has always been Nyangqin's pride, and Nyangqin's most favorite person. Xiao Bao's pale little face reveals a happy, childish smile. Then, his little body sways, and he falls down. Mu Yin promptly embraces him in her arms, and with trembling hands, she checks him several times. Only after confirming that he only fainted from exhaustion does she breathe a sigh of relief. This little bastard, he's actually so mischievous. Today, she's simply scared to death. Mu Yin looks at the little boy sleeping soundly in her arms and can't help but tap his nose. When he wakes up, she must properly teach this little bastard a lesson. He's so young, yet he has so many deep thoughts. Even though she's complaining like this, Mu Yan's movements are careful, as if she's holding a treasure. The way she looks at Xiaobao is even more gentle and pampering. Deming Ju on the side can't help but feel sour. When will Yin Yin look at him with such eyes? Handing Xiaobao over to Ying Mei to hold, Mu Yin looks at Elder Wan lying on the ground. Blood flowed out of Elder Wan's mouth. His face, which was already old to begin with, instantly aged to the point where it looked like cracked and withered tree bark. He opens his mouth, making a sound like a broken bellows. His muddy eyes are stained with blood as he stares at Mu Yin. You? Who are you? Mu Yin looks down at him from above, then slowly spits out 3 words. Jun Mu Yin. Jun Mu Yin. Jun Mu Yin. This girl is actually Jun Mu Yin. Elder Wan's eyes widen, and they are filled with shock. The Enchantress of Medicine who rose to fame in just a short year, the one who occupied the Ghost Wind Valley, the one who made the Ghost City treat her differently, the one who destroyed the royal family of Jingcheng country, the one who made Gong Qinshue flee in a sorry state, and the one who made Jian Feng return with injuries, turned out to be the person in front of them. You. What exactly do you want to do? Elder Wan spat out the words with difficulty. He thought he was shouting, but what came out was only a hoarse and chaotic voice. Go against Tiandao sect. You won't have a good end. Ghost Wind Valley. Tiandao sect will soon send troops to destroy. Oh, you want to send troops to our netherworld Flame Valley? Mayan chuckled. Then I really think the same as the Heavenly Road sect master. Chapter 726. Mu Yin didn't spare him another glance, but turned to look at Guan Hu and Shui Yin. Is there any news from the ghastly Flame Valley? How long will it take for the army to arrive? Reporting to Miss, the news from the Tianji Battalion has been delivered. From the moment Miss gave the order, the army of the Hellflame Valley has already set off. They will arrive at the foot of the Heavenly Law sect in Huangyao country by tomorrow evening at the latest. Mu Yin slowly smiles. All right, tomorrow night. We'll send a big gift to the Heavenly Road sect. It was a big gift that she had wanted to give in her previous life. Late at night, Jianfeng's medicine hut. A blood-colored figure stumbled into the room. Senior brother, save me, save me. Jianfeng heard a familiar voice and hurriedly ran out of the room. What he saw was Gong Qinshue covered in blood and collapsing to the ground. Qinshue. Jianfeng hurriedly helped her up, his face full of worry. Junior sister, how are you? Who hurt you like this? Gong Qinshue's mouth overflows with blood, her complexion deathly pale. After a long while, she gnashes her teeth and spits out 3 words. Jun Mayan again. Jianfeng's eyes emitted a strong killing intent. Damn woman, she actually hurt you again and again. As he spoke, Jianfeng took out a medicinal pill and fed it to Gong Qinshue. After taking the pill, Gong Qinshue's complexion improved a lot, and she no longer vomited blood. But very quickly, she revealed a frightened expression. My cultivation. Why did it drop to the profound rank? Senior brother, how did this happen? Jianfeng looked at her with pity and heartache. He helplessly shook his head and said, Qinshue, I'm sorry. Your injuries were already too severe. Now, you've suffered even more injuries. In addition, you've consumed your blood essence. Even I can't help you recover your cultivation. You're saying that I'll never be able to return to the heaven rank? I can't ascend to the cultivation land anymore? Gong Qinshue couldn't bear it any longer and let out a shrill scream. No, I don't accept it. Senior brother, didn't you say that you would bring me back to the cultivation continent? Didn't you say that I would definitely succeed in tempering my body and soul? Senior brother, you can't lie to me. Jianfeng hugged her and said apologetically, Qinxue, calm down. I will definitely think of another way. I didn't expect that Junmayan would be so powerful. Think of a way? Think of what? Is there any other way for me to recover my cultivation? Gong Qinxue was still hysterical, her face distorted. Do you want the fetus to be refined into medicine? No problem. I'll go look for. Jianfeng shook his head and said, even if we use ordinary fetuses to refine medicine now, it's already useless. Qinxue, you're seriously injured this time. If you want to recover your cultivation, you have to. Unless what? Gong Qinshue's eyes suddenly lit up. Her blood-stained hand gripped the edge of the sword tightly, her nails almost digging into her flesh. Her originally beautiful face became extremely hideous because of the distortion. Tell me quickly, is there any way to restore my cultivation? Bengong is destined to be a proud son of heaven, Yinwu continent's #1 genius. I absolutely cannot lose my cultivation. I absolutely cannot fall from the altar. No matter what method I use, I must climb up. Jianfeng felt a sharp pain in his wrist. Gong Qinshue's nails have already pierced through his flesh, and Gong Qinshue's twisted face also made Jianfeng feel very uncomfortable. Chapter 727. Gong Qinshu sees the doubt in Jianfeng's eyes, and she suddenly sobers up. Her heart thumps, and the expression on her face immediately changes. Tears stream down, and her expression turns into a weeping beauty. Senior brother, my home is gone. My parents and relatives were all killed by that heartless woman, Junmayan. Even my country was taken away by that woman. Now, even my cultivation has fallen to profound stage. Senior brother, I have nothing left. What should I do? She weeps and throws herself into Jianfeng's arms. She hugs him, her body constantly trembling. Senior brother, I only have you left. You must help me. I want to be with you. I want to go back to the Shuzhen continent with you. The bit of doubt in Jianfeng's heart is immediately dispelled by Gong Qinshue's crying. He promptly pacifies Gong Qinshu, softly saying, rest assured, since senior brother has promised you, I will definitely do it. Gong Qinshue's eyes flash with disdain. If it wasn't for this useless Jianfeng, who couldn't even deal with Junmayan and couldn't even cure a trivial injury, how could she have fallen to this point? When she goes to the Shuzhen continent, she will definitely get rid of this useless man and find a strong backer. Thinking like this in her heart, Gong Qinshue's face becomes more and more delicate and pitiful. She straightens up and looks at Jianfeng with tearful eyes, full of trust and attachment. Senior brother, you just said that only by what means can I restore my cultivation? Jianfeng hesitates for a moment, then says, unless the immortal spirit body can be refined into an elixir and you can take it, your injury will be completely healed, and your cultivation will directly break through to the pre-celestial stage, and even temper your body and train your soul. Gong Qinshue's breathing becomes disorderly, and her eyes brighten up. Directly temper the body and train the soul? If that's really possible, however, as soon as she thinks of the immortal spirit body, Gong Qinshue's brows furrow fiercely. Because the immortal spirit body that she knows is only that little bastard that Junmayan gave birth to. However, she hasn't seen that Junmayan for 5 years. She doesn't know what kind of crooked method she learned, but she unexpectedly became so powerful. She has never gained any advantage from her, but now she has nothing because of that slut. How could he obtain the immortal physique? Gong Qinshu took a deep breath and mournfully looked towards Jianfeng. Senior brother, that Junmu Yin is really too cunning. It's easier said than done to snatch the immortal body from her hands. I'm afraid that Qinshue's injuries will never recover, and she will never be able to accompany senior brother again. No. Jianfeng grabbed her hand. Qinshu, so what if that Junmayan is powerful? Do you think you can contend against the Tiandao sect? Gong Qinshue's eyes slightly widened as she raised her voice. Senior martial brother, what you mean is that you want to tell the elders of Tiandao sect about the immortal spirit body. No, you can't. Gong Qinshu lowered her head, her face hidden in the shadows twisted. If those old farts found out about the existence of the immortal physique, How could she still have a chance? No, absolutely not. She was the one who discovered this immortal physique. She had discovered it 5 years ago. Jin Feng's gaze was deep and serene as he slowly said, "Don't worry, they won't fight with Qinxue over the immortal physique. We only need to tell the ancestor of Tiandao sect that the 9 stars and moon vision was caused by Jun Mayan that day, and that's enough." Chapter 728. I heard that ever since that day, the ancestor has been searching for the person who caused the phenomenon. Jin Feng said faintly, "No matter how powerful that Jun Mayan and her people are, can they be more powerful than the old ancestor? Can they be more powerful than the Tiandao sect? As long as we report this news to the old ancestor, someone will naturally help us get rid of Mayan." With Jun Mayan's death, do you think that son of hers would be able to escape our clutches? Gong Qinshue's heart thumps wildly. It's as if she's already seeing that little bastard being refined into an elixir by herself, and Jun Mayan's pained and regretful appearance. She gently looked at Jin Feng. "Everything is up to senior brother. Qinsue will completely hand herself over to senior brother." As she spoke, she wrapped her hands around Jin Feng's neck, grabbed his hands, and pressed them against her clothes. Feeling the softness in his hand, Jin Feng's breathing became heavy and his eyes turned red. "Junior sister, I can't." Jin Feng really liked Gong Qinsue. He wanted to wait for Gong Qinsue to ascend to the Xiuzhen continent, marry her, and then obtain her body. "Senior brother, you can do it." Gong Qinshue's eyes were soft and charming, delicate and pitiful. "Qinsue only has you in my heart. Qinshue's body also belongs to you. Sooner or later, I will give it to you." Gong Qinsue exhaled softly at the edge of the sword. Jin Feng smelled a strange fragrance assailing his nostrils, causing his mind to become absent-minded. Gong Qinsue had already taken off her clothes, revealing her snow-white skin. Jin Feng couldn't hold it in any longer. He threw her to the ground and bit her body. Gong Qinsue let out an unbearable moan under his impact, but her slightly opened eyes were filled with a cold light. She had once obtained a set of techniques to charm men from Lu Se. As long as she used it on the man would be dead set on her from then on. Although Jin Feng was infatuated with her, it was hard to guarantee that he wouldn't betray her in the future. Just in case, she had to keep the sword in her hand. Huangyao Nation, Star Luo City, Tiandao Sect. Tiandao Sect Master, Wang Qingming, was cultivating in his room as usual. White smoke rose from the top of his head, and beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. His aged face was filled with wrinkles, and he seemed to have aged more than 10 years in the blink of an eye. Wang Qingming suddenly opened his eyes, and a trace of fear flashed across his eyes. He hurriedly took out a porcelain bottle and poured out some pills from it. As the pill dissolved in his body, the wrinkles on his face faded at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was as if he had turned from an old man to an old man in his 60s. Wang Qingming heaved a sigh of relief, but when he looked at the empty porcelain bottle, he couldn't help but frown. What the hell was that bunch of trash doing? How many usable babies had been produced in such a long time? Moreover, the pills refined by these infants could only extend their lifespan for a limited amount of time. Wang Qingming frowned deeply and clenched his teeth. No, he couldn't just sit and wait for death. He had to find a way to temper his body and soul as soon as possible so that he could ascend to the cultivation world. He didn't want to die of old age in this barren land. Just as he was thinking, a disciple suddenly stumbled into the room. "Sect leader, bad news, bad news." If we don't get rid of it as soon as possible, I'm afraid it will become a huge threat to our Tiandao sect in the future. Gong Qinshuo says anxiously, "It would be better for us to make the first move and gain the upper hand. We'll mobilize all the disciples of the Heavenly Road sect and completely annihilate that Ghost Wind Valley." Wang Qingming's eyes flickered. After a long time, he said, "This matter needs to be considered at length. The Ghost Wind Valley is filled with poisonous gas. You can only enter but not leave. If we are not fully prepared, our Tiandao sect will suffer heavy losses. However, Qinxue, you can rest assured. This Junmayan actually had the guts to steal something from our Tiandao sect. Master will definitely make her spit it out. According to Wang Qingming's thoughts, Junmayan destroying the underground palace and snatching away the pill embryo that they raised was only to discuss conditions with the Tiandao sect. Chapter 730. When the time comes, Tiandao sect only needs to promise Junmayan some benefits, and the pill embryo will naturally be obediently handed over. Gong Qinxue is extremely angry. Sure enough, as Jianfeng said, without enough benefits, these old foxes would never be willing to take risks. She takes a deep breath and looks at Jianfeng. Jianfeng immediately says, "Sect Master, we have an important matter. We request to see the old ancestor." The old ancestor is in seclusion. Don't you know that he can't be disturbed if there's nothing important? Jianfeng's eyes are heavy. It is indeed an important matter, and it's something that the old ancestor will definitely be interested in. What is it? This disciple has found out who was the one who caused the 9 stars and moon phenomenon that day. Wang Qingming stares blankly at first, then almost jumps up. What did you say? An hour later, almost all the elders of Tiandao sect have gathered in the main hall. Sitting high above is a middle-aged man with an ordinary face. If it wasn't said, no one would have thought that this seemingly simple and honest middle-aged man is actually the old ancestor of Tiandao sect, Chang Yong. Even the sect master of Tiandao sect, Wang Qingming, can only sit below him. Chang Yong's gaze looks around, and finally falls on Jianfeng and Gong Qianxue. You said that the person who caused the heaven and earth phenomenon, who was it? Jianfeng stands up, casually salutes, then slowly says, "It was Junmayan, the current master of the Ghost Wind Valley, the enchantress of medicine who has just risen in recent years. Junmayan, old ancestor Chang Yong's pupil's contract? Have you verified it?" Jianfeng hasn't spoken yet, but Gong Qianxue has already stood up, excitedly saying, "Reporting to the old ancestor, Qianxue dares to guarantee with her life that this news is certainly true. That Junmayan, Qianxue had seen her 5 years ago. At that time, she was just a weak woman without the strength to truss a chicken. But in a short 5 years, she has become so powerful, single-handedly created the Nether Flame Army, possesses superb medical skills, and also destroyed the Jingcheng country where this disciple is from. Old ancestor, think about it. If she didn't have a rare treasure, if she didn't have any fortuitous encounter, how could she have been reborn in just 5 years?" Chang Yong's expression changed and his eyes flickered. Gong Qianxue continues to raise the stakes. Moreover, that anomaly was triggered in Huang Yao's imperial city. This disciple has found out that Junmayan was also in Huang Yao's imperial city that day. At the same time, Master Uncle's Jin Wangfu was completely massacred. Ancestor, could it be that this still doesn't prove that Junmayan is the one who caused the heaven and earth anomaly? The light in Chang Yong's eyes becomes brighter and brighter. He abruptly stands up. It's that person. It really is that person. As long as I get this Junmayan, I will definitely be able to ascend to the Shojin continent immediately. I will capture her. I must capture her alive. Gong Qianxue was excited in her heart when she heard Chang Yong's words. But if she continued to delay, the longer the delay, the more trouble there would be. She didn't know when her cultivation would recover. Old ancestor, that woman Junmayan is cunning and vicious. If she knew that old ancestor wanted to capture her, she might have hidden herself. We have to act as soon as possible to avoid any unexpected events. It could be said that Chang Yong was determined to win Mayan's heart. Hearing this, he immediately said, "Pass down the order. Have all the disciples of the Heavenly Road sect who are outside to gain experience immediately return to the sect. After 3 days, we will attack the Ghost Wind Valley." Wang Qingming hesitantly said, "But that Ghost Wind Valley is shrouded in poisonous creatures all year round." Chapter 731. He casually tosses out a piece of paper, and it gently floats in front of Wang Qingming. "As long as you take the draft refined by this pharmacy, within 24 hours, No poison on this continent will be able to erode you. Wang Qingming took the prescription and was overjoyed. Thank you, Patriarch. Thinking that Junmayan might have a unique treasure on her that could allow the ancestor to advance, and maybe even allow him to advance as well, Wang Qingming's eyes burned with passion. Heavenly Road Sect, listen to the old ancestor's orders. We must annihilate the Ghost Wind Valley and capture Mayan alive. Capture Mayan alive. Capture Mayan alive. Gong Qianxue clenched her fists tightly, her face filled with malevolence and greed. You bunch of old farts, go fight over Junmayan. As for her, as long as she could obtain that little bastard, she would be able to ascend faster than these people. Ha ha ha. The Tiandao sect began to move like wildfire. All the disciples of the Tiandao sect knew that the world's #1 sect, the Tiandao sect, was going to attack the Ghost Wind Valley. The Tiandao sect has been silent for many years. Wang Qingming looks at the high-spirited disciples below him and says in a clear voice, nowadays, in this Yinwu continent, there are many sects that have already forgotten to revere and obey my Tiandao sect. For example, the Purple Sun sect that had produced by I Ching often paid lip service to the Tiandao sect. He even went against the orders of the Tiandao sect. Even those big families wanted to break free from the control of the Tiandao sect. Thinking of this, Wang Qingming's face turned cold and his voice became somewhat sharp. In the battle 3 days later, we must raze the Ghost Wind Valley to the ground in one fell swoop. Not only do we have to kill all the traitors in the Ghost Wind Valley who dare to challenge the authority of the Heavenly Road sect, we have to capture Mayan alive. Moreover, we have to once again raise the prestige of our Heavenly Road sect in front of everyone. With the Ghost Wind Valley as an example, I want to see who else dares to challenge my Tiandao sect's authority. As soon as Wang Qingming's voice fell, the people below immediately raised their weapons and shouted, "Bring glory to our Tiandao sect. Raise the Ghost Wind Valley to the ground and capture Mayan alive. Bring glory to our Heavenly Law sect." Rumble. Suddenly, a loud sound came from the foot of the swaggering mountain, where the Tiandao sect was located. Even the plaza where Wang Qingming and the elite disciples were standing shook violently. Wang Qingming circulated his profound qi and managed to stabilize his figure with great difficulty. What happened? Just as this question flashed through his mind, he heard a tsunami of shouts and screams coming from the foot of the mountain. There was also the sound of the earth quaking, as if 10,000 horses were galloping. What happened? What's going on? Wang Qingming's voice carried a trace of imperceptible horror. Sect leader. Sect leader. Something bad has happened. A terrified scream came from the direction of the gate. Wang Qingming's heart skipped a beat. Why is it bad again? He saw an outer sect disciple covered in blood stumbling over. The elites of the Tiandao sect on the plaza made way for him. The man rolled and crawled in front of Wang Qingming. He opened his mouth and uttered chaotic syllables, but he couldn't utter a complete sentence for a long time. Wang Qingming roared angrily, "Hurry up and tell me. What the hell happened?" "They're attacking. They're attacking. Who's attacking?" Just as the man was about to answer, the melodious sound of a zither suddenly reverberated in the plaza. Chapter 732. Sect Leader Wang, I heard that the people of your Tiandao sect are looking for me. In order not to trouble you, I've delivered myself to your doorstep. Wang Qingming's whole body trembles, and he jerks his head up. He sees that on top of the Tiandao sect's plaque, there's a girl in snow-white clothes sitting leisurely at some point. The afterglow of the setting sun falls on her clothes, dyeing her whole body with a layer of golden red. Her beautiful face, under the reflection of the golden red, is inexplicably tainted with charm, and also tainted with a bewitching and evil charm that makes people shiver all over. And beside her, there's also a little boy, carved from jade, whose appearance is 70 to 80% similar to Mayan's. It's just that this boy's cultivation is shrouded in clouds and mist. Even Wang Qingming can't see through it. Wang Qingming's breathing stagnates, and he slowly spits out 3 words, Junmayan. As for that little boy, needless to say, he must be the rumored little bastard that this slut stays by her side all day long. Mayan gently hooks up the corner of her mouth, smiling like a pure and tender little girl. Sect leader Wang, are you surprised to see me? Are you happy? The corner of Wang Chengming's mouth twitches, then he sneers. Jun Mayan, you really have a lot of guts. You actually dare to deliver yourself to our doorstep? Delivering myself to our doorstep, is that guts? Mayan sneers, if I casually destroy the Tiandao sect, does sect leader Wang think that my guts can reach the sky? Wang Chengming's chest heaves up and down, then he suppresses his anger. Jun Mayan, do you really think that our Tiandao sect is a soft persimmon that you can pinch as you please? He slowly says, I can give you a chance. As long as you obediently surrender, I promise that I won't make a move against the Ghost Wind Valley, nor Qi Yin country. Moreover, I guarantee that the Tiandao sect will no longer pursue the matter of your subordinates offending my Tiandao sect today. Surrender? Mayan plucks the strings of the zither while revealing a mocking expression. I came here today to destroy your Tiandao sect. Otherwise, why would I come to this garbage gathering place? You want me to surrender? Do you think I'm as retarded as you? Ever since Wang Qingming became the Tiandao sect master, he was respected everywhere he went. Now, he was called a retard by this woman. How could he tolerate that? Good. There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, but you insist on barging in. Since you've delivered yourselves to our door, it just so happens to save us the time to raise the Ghost Wind Valley. Wang Qingming roars, and the disciples of the Heavenly Road sect in the square immediately scatter. They each take their own positions and point their swords at Mu Yin, who is above the plaque. Who dares to hurt our young miss? A roar came from the foot of the mountain. The Nether Flame army entered in a single file and blocked in front of the Tiandao sect disciples. Bai Yichen, Yin Hao Yin, Feng Haidang, and Ru Yin stand on either side of Mu Yin. The tense atmosphere was like the arrival of a storm at dusk. Wang Qingming's gaze swept across the group of Nether Flame army soldiers, after which the nervousness on his face was replaced by contempt and mockery. Jun Mayan, do you think that these pieces of trash can level my Tiandao sect? What a joke. Among these people, other than Jun Mayan, the one with the highest cultivation is Bai Yichen, a pre-celestial. Even the number of heaven stage is only a few. But what about the Tiandao sect? There are quite a few peak pre-celestials. Chapter 733. This Jun Mayan couldn't have been too smooth sailing ever since she became famous. So much so that she doesn't know how much she's worth, right? Wang Qingming raised his hand and clapped it 3 times in the air. These 3 claps were neither light nor heavy, but they contained profound energy. Soon, a total of 32 old men came out from inside. Every one of them was an innate. The most terrifying thing was that there were 5 peak innate experts among them. Even though they already knew that the Tiandao sect was wealthy, the people from the Netherflame Valley could not help but change their expressions. There were actually 5 peak innate rankers. Before following the miss, they even thought that there were only a dozen or so pre-celestial cultivators in the Yinwu continent. But now, he found out that there were over 30 Xintian experts in the Tiandao sect. Seeing the sudden change in their expressions, Wang Qingming revealed a calm smile. He raises his head to look at the aloof Mayan and unhurriedly says, Miss June, do you want to have a good talk with this old man now? Not interested. Wang Qingming frowned, and his eyes flashed with ruthlessness. You bitch, don't think, Rian. Mu Yin interrupts him. Her voice is even slower than Wang Qingming's. This miss doesn't like the hall behind this old man. Ru Yin smiled sweetly, revealing her white teeth. Okay, subordinate understands. Then, she put her hands together by her lips and let out a strange whistle. Before Wang Qingming could react to what had happened, he heard a loud bang behind him. The earth quaked and the mountains shook. Wang Qingming turned around in shock and saw that the hall that the 32 elders had just come out of had collapsed. In just a few breaths of time, only ruins were left. The 32nd elder brother Xiantian elder's face turned pale in an instant. Mu Yan's gaze fell on Wang Qingming's sluggish face, and he casually smiled. Sect leader Wang, if I had let this thunderbolt fire thunder explode earlier, Would you elders still be able to come out alive? Wang Qingming's face alternated between green and white. After a long time, he finally squeezed out a sentence. You. How did you do it? How did he do it? Naturally, he would letting Mei sneak in without anyone noticing. It's just that Mei isn't a person of the Yinwu continent, so he can't directly cause the deaths of people on this continent. Otherwise, why would Mayan be so kind as to wait for those 32 Xiantian elders to escape before letting Ru Yin detonate the thunderbolt? But Wang Qingming didn't know, and neither did the others in Tiandao sect. At this moment, they only felt that the woman in front of them was mysterious and unfathomable, causing them to unconsciously feel a chill run down their spine. The strings in Mu Yan's hands never stopped plucking. The melodious music, at times light and smooth, at other times it was like crying and complaining, reverberated in the night sky, full of sorrow. But it just so happened that it did not match the atmosphere in the square at all. Sect leader Wang, would you believe me if I told you that I've already poisoned these 32 elders, and that they will die if they act rashly and use their celestial qi? Hearing this, the expressions of the 32 elders changed greatly. Instead, they were all astonished. If Mayan had said these words before the explosion in the main hall, they definitely wouldn't have believed a single word. But now, they had no confidence at all. This woman could secretly release the thunderbolt and fire thunder into the hall. Who knew if she had also secretly poisoned it? Chapter 734. Today is the day of your death. You'd better roll down with that little bastard next to you and surrender. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Mayan's eyes turn cold, but the smile on her lips becomes more and more demonic. Sect leader Wang, you scared my baby. This miss is very unhappy. Ru Yin, blow up 2 more houses. All right, miss. Wang Qingming's complexion greatly changes, and he only has time to bellow, don't. But it's still a step too late. There are 2 loud explosions in the distance. Wang Qingming only feels his vision go dark, and he almost faints. That's the treasure pavilion of the Tiandao sect. Inside are all the materials that the Tiandao sect has collected for many years, as well as the cultivation methods passed down from generation to generation. Now, in one night, they've all been destroyed by this woman. June Mayan, I'm going to dismember your body into 10,000 pieces. Wang Qingming soars to the sky. The long sword in his hand suddenly whistles out and ruthlessly slashes at June Mayan in the void. There's a loud rumble as the long sword hits something solid, dust flying everywhere. However, there's no blood splattering, and Wang Qingming's body has already fallen down involuntarily. What falls to the ground one step ahead of him is that huge plaque. With a loud bang, the plaque is broken into pieces, and the 3 words Tiandao sect written on it are also broken into pieces. Wang Qingming stares blankly at the broken plaque, the symbol that symbolizes the glory of the Tiandao sect for thousands of years. For a moment, he can't come back to his senses. His heart sinks little by little. He feels that with the shattering of this plaque, it's as if the glory of the Tiandao sect for thousands of years is also dissipating. The woman's languid and cold voice comes from behind. Wang Qingming, when you get to the underworld, don't forget that the Tiandao sect was destroyed by your hands. It's this man who accepted Gong Qinxue as his disciple, indulging her and Jian Feng to do evil. It's this man who, in order to prolong his life, came up with a method to raise a pill fetus. In the past, he was aloof and remote, controlling other people's lives, watching them struggle like dogs under his torment. Now, with the cycle of karma, it's time for him, Wang Qingming, to pay the price. Wang Qingming suddenly turns around, staring at the girl in fear and hatred. June Mayan, what do you want to do? Let me warn you, my Tiandao sect is not a place you can touch as you please. Our ancestor is currently in seclusion, so he must have heard the commotion. If he knew that you were behaving so atrociously in Tiandao sect, he definitely wouldn't. Wang Qingming's voice stopped abruptly. Dumbfounded, he lowered his head and looked at the sword that had pierced through his abdomen. Raising his head, he saw the girl's bright and beautiful smile. The corners of Mu Yan's mouth curved, just like an innocent, pure, and gentle young lady. Idiot. What was that just now? It's just a warm-up. Now, it's time to act wildly. Why? Why did he not notice her attack at all? Why did she dare to kill him in the territory of Tiandao's sect? Was he, Wang Qingming, going to die? He died silently in the hands of a young girl? His ambition to ascend, his determination to unify the Yinwu continent, his everything, is it going to vanish into thin air? No. No. How could I? How could I? Bang. Wang Qingming fell stiffly to the ground. His bulging eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the sky. He died with everlasting regret. Mu Yin pulled back her hand. The sword in her hand was completely transparent, but with a casual turn, it emitted a seven-colored radiance. She had an aggrieved expression on her face, as if she was about to cry. In the next moment, the head of a Tiandao sect disciple was chopped off. Blood splattered on her clothes, but she wiped it off in disgust for a long time before happily killing the next one. No matter how he looked at it, he looked like a pervert. Mu Yin couldn't help but look at Bai Yichen. This doesn't seem right. Bai Yichen was obviously a cold and true gentleman. But why did the Grand Void Battalion he had brought out look like little perverts? Mu Yin pressed her forehead. She always felt that her Nether Flame army would bring a very unique and exciting experience to the people of the world in the future. Chapter 736. It was not only because these hooligans were unscrupulous, but also because of the woman playing the zither. The sound of her zither rang out under the night sky. At first, no one paid any attention to it. By the time he realized what was going on, it was already too late. They discovered that the transformation of their profound energy had become sluggish, while the other party was fighting more and more valiantly. His cultivation was clearly lower than theirs, but his profound energy seemed to be inexhaustible. Elder, hurry. Hurry up and kill that woman. Otherwise, our Tiandao sect will be finished. You, go to the back of the mountain to inform the elder ancestor. Even if you have to blow up the stone door, you must ask the elder ancestor to come out. This was a moment of life and death for their Tiandao sect. The 32 elders looked at each other and realized this as well. Although they were still worried about whether or not there was a deadly poison in their bodies, if they continued to delay like this, even if the poison did not act up, they would not have a good ending. Let's fight. One of the perfection stage congenital realm elders gritted his teeth and said, Everyone, let's attack together and kill this demonic woman. No matter what, our heavenly Dao sect's foundation of 1,000 years can't be destroyed so casually. The 32 people looked at each other and nodded in unison. Then, they rose into the air at the same time. However, before they could get close to Mu Yin, a sword light slashed horizontally, drawing a gorgeous arc in the night sky. Powerful, profound energy vibrated, and actually shook them all back, causing them to fall back to the ground. What shocked these elders was that the person who forced them to retreat was not someone else, but it was that 4- or 5-year-old boy. That sword chi just now was clearly something that could only be unleashed by someone with a cultivation above the innate realm. But how was it possible for a 4- or 5-year-old innate master? What a joke. Xiaobao leaps down from midair and stands in front of the stone pillar where Mayan is. His tender and childish voice coldly says, Get into formation. Yes, young master. Almost as soon as Little Bao gave the order, Yin Haoyin and the other 3 flew out from the battlefield. Accompanying them are Guan Hu, Chang Yu, Shui Yin, Fang Jingya, Old Tao, and other captains of the various camps. The dozen or so people spread out and surrounded the 32 elders in the center. On top of the stone pillar, Mayan's music had already begun to change. The originally melodious and lingering melody had turned into a rapid torrent. The range of graceful feather became smaller. Xiao Bao and the others seemed to be covered in a layer of golden light. Regardless of whether it was their speed, profound energy circulation, or attack power, all of them had been raised to a higher level. On the other hand, the expressions of the 32 elders were unsightly because they could feel that their meridians seemed as if they were being choked by some sort of force, and their profound energy was unable to circulate smoothly. However, this was not enough. The effect of Graceful Feather was successfully activated. The movements of Mu Yan's fingers on the strings are getting faster and faster, almost like afterimages. The sound of the zither was like a storm, making it impossible to tell if there were any notes. Prison Drawing and Floating Like a Dream were activated at the same time. The 32 elders wanted to split up and take down Little Treasure and the others one by one. However, he found himself trapped in a small area, unable to move at will. At the same time, those with lower cultivation bases felt dizzy, and terrifying hallucinations kept appearing in front of them. There were the women who were raped and killed by them, the baby spirits of the fetuses that they cut out and ate, and the countless wronged souls that died unjustly. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.